Have no fear, the Jigzilla is here, and he's back with a floppy quote. I don't know who wrote this one, but it's pretty floppy to me. It's pretty philosophical, so let's read it. When a child is learning how to when a child is learning how to walk and falls down 50 times, they never think to themselves, maybe this ain't for me. I was about to say when a child is learning how to talk, but same thing. It's exactly the same thing. I'll reread the quote, but I'll say talk instead, because whether it's walk, talk, y'all gotta learn all of it. And as a child, I'm sure this is the same story. When a child is learning how to talk and falls down in his conversation 50 times, they never think to themselves, maybe this ain't for me. They just keep trying. And eventually, they master it. I'm sure most of us keep trying and trying, and eventually we master the art of walking. Not all of us master the art of talking, but we eventually have a sufficient amount of mastery in that skill. Oof, man, this one's deep. This one is one that a lot of us need to hear, need to learn, need to understand. This one teaches so much. Yo, this one's deep. And I'll tell you what, I think I'm going to go deep as hell in this one. The depth, I'm not sure how far down, but I got a lot to say about this one. Because this one sparks my mind and billions and gajillions of thoughts pop up. So let's start. The scenario is a child. Let's remove the idea child, because either way, the scenario is a person attempting to master something and they fail. In this scenario, this person has failed 50 times. That's heaps. That sounds like a lot. Well, to a lot of situations that a lot of us out there might be trying, 50 failures is enough to scare us away from ever trying it again. I understand. A long time ago, I fell into the scenario of failing many things, sometimes just only once or twice. And after failing once or twice, I would never try it again. But of course, I'm a little bit more ambitious of that. And then after getting rejected, by heaps of girls and females, it got to this point where it's like, you know what? I'm just going to keep trying and hopefully I succeed. And, I eventually got a girlfriend, and then I ticked that off the list. So the boys wouldn't bag me. They're like, he's never had a girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. Because sadly, at least in our society, especially for boys, have had a girlfriend, there's a lot of pressure with that. It's like, it's kind of like how you measure the worth of one of the boys. It's like, he hasn't had a girlfriend yet. Oof. And it's like, oh man, come on, we need to help him out. And then sadly, look, I know some of my boys, they have to go through this. We, the crew, the village, we try to assist our neighbor or our friend or one of our boys to get a girl, and we encourage them to try. That's the main thing. We encourage them to keep trying, even if they fail or whatever. The main thing that we see is they gave it a shot. Give it a shot. Whatever you're trying to do, whether you're trying to, approach the opposite sex, get a job, get a particular type of job, convince someone's family or convince people to think of you in a different way, anything, be part of a club, give it a shot. And even if you get rejected once, maybe try again. Of course, it gets into the tricky detail when, someone's trying too much where it's kind of annoying, and then you just become a pest and a nuisance because you're clearly unacceptable or not accepted for a specific role. But the main thing is give it a shot. That sort of courage and mentality is pretty much what makes a successful person or not. Because what this quote is saying, if children were like, oh, I tried walking and I've tried so much, but I haven't succeeded yet. Oh, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I don't want to try again anymore. Oof. If humans gave up that easily, none of us would be walking. That skill would have eventually died out. I know there are alternatives, but sometimes there are some fundamentals as humans that we thrive on, like walking and talking. And other skills and opportunities, I don't think they should be regarded as different. A lot of things should be regarded the same. Just because you didn't get this job in this type of workplace that you want to be in doesn't mean you should just give up straight away and not try another place or try again at the same place. There is a lot of wisdom in giving more effort, because when you fail, you learn a lot about what you could do to succeed the next time. There's that other quote, there's another Phlopy one, and it goes somewhere along the lines of, we learn from our failures. Hells yeah, we learn from our failures. That's exactly what this is saying, pretty much, but in a more specific scope. But either way, it could still be brought out and expanded upon for so many things. But what I feel this quote really relates to, and this will apply to many of us, especially us here in the first world, in the Western first world, I should say as well. And I guess in the Eastern, because the Eastern first world, you kind of get brought into this system as well. But I feel this really relates with finding your place in society. Because, in a sense, the way civilization was kind of created. No, it's not the way civilization was created. It's the way that civilization is kind of grown. We're overpopulated. Here on this earth, in this physical plane, there's just too many of us. And for all of us to easily find a place in the societies we have all around today, it's difficult. You know why? Because you got to compete with all these other bastards showing that they're worthy of the role that you want. And so that's when this quote comes in. Putting in an effort, even if you fail numerous times, continue to put in the effort and try again. Just try again. What's that other Phlopy one? If at first you don't succeed, try again. There was a movie that one of the characters kept saying that. What was that movie? Was it Matilda? I can't remember. Oh, I love Matilda. That was such a beautiful film and story because, I didn't read it. In primary school, elementary school, whatever you want to call it, yeah, the teachers did read us that one. I'm sure that's a Roald Dahl one. Oof, Roald Dahl. Bruh, all his stories slap. They so good. I'm not sure if the latest version of The Witches was well received. I didn't watch it, but for some reason I didn't feel like watching it. First of all, because when I watched The Witches when I was little, the original film, oh damn, that scared the shit out of me, man. I remember being little and oh man, I didn't want to watch it. I felt freaked out. But I guess that's the point of that story as well. But yeah, I feel like the latest one wasn't well received. You know what? I should make a note to watch it because maybe I'll fall in love with it. I'm one of those types where, you ask like, "Oh, hey, how's that movie?" And for some reason, everyone's always like, "Oh, it was alright. It wasn't that good." Like, oh. Why all you like that? By the way, I always ask people like, "Oh, what do you reckon of the movie?" And everyone never gets excited about any films, or they're always like, "Oh, nah, it wasn't that good." And then when I go watch it, it happens to be like one of the maddest stories I've ever watched to see. And I'm like, I learned not to trust. No offense, but I learned not to trust regular people's opinions because I know they're all gonna say the same shit like, "Oh, it was okay, it wasn't that good." Like, when I'm asking the non-create, no offense, but when I'm asking the non-creatives if something is good, no offense, but I kind of like categorize your opinion in that box. Like, oh, who cares what he says? Because it's probably good anyway. There's so many good films that everyone was like, "Nah, it wasn't that good," but I thought they were amazing. Like the latest Tomb Raider, I thought that was awesome. Like the latest Tomb Raider was like mental. What's all these people not liking it, or like, oh, or not even getting it, not even receiving the attention that it deserved? That film was mental. Like I loved it. Like I already seen Angelina Jolie with that Tomb Raider back when I was a kid, but when you watch this one, it's like, oof, the actors were amazing. Like the villain in that, what's that dude's name? But he was in the second Ant-Man. That dude, he played his role well. Like he's not the biggest and strongest and burliest guy, but you could tell he was a villain for sure. He was evil as fuck. He had the right mindset. I love that. I loved his acting. It was mental. Oof. You know what's another film that was absolutely amazing, and I can't believe barely anybody knows it, nor did it. Well, at least where I'm around, barely anyone knows it, and yet, and it just didn't receive as much attention as it should have. The Dark Tower. That film was mental. I love it because I'm into fantasy and all that, and again, the actor who played the villain, I think it was Matthew McConaughey. Bro, he was the evilest motherfucker ever. Like when every scene he was in, you just know like, oh man, shit. He's like the devil. Like he was 100% evil, and all he did was like he just had a nice suit on. He looked smooth as shit, and he was sexy, and that sexiness, oof, he was evil. Damn. Anyway, I kind of went off track. Sadly, you guys are gonna have to deal with that, but I'm just having fun. I'm an adventurer, so I love going here and there. But let's get back to this quote. Finding your place in society. That's what I feel like this really talks about. Failing, and sadly, the case I see with a lot of people, and I say this because I've seen this in myself as well. A few failures and a few rejections, it makes me hesitate. It makes me go somewhere else. And sadly, I never fulfill the desires, or I never complete the desires that I originally had inside. Broken dreams, ambitions not sought out, not followed through. And you know who the person to blame the most is? I could blame, but they didn't accept me, they rejected me, or I wasn't good enough, or like they wanted this and like I didn't fit this profile, or they're too picky, or they this, they that, this, blah blah blah, pointing all the fingers outside, but I was the one to blame. We are the ones to blame because we didn't try more. We didn't try enough. Yeah, enough. I was going to say we didn't try more. Yeah, we didn't try more. We let a few rejections deter us and douse out our flame. And in a lot of situations, sadly, that's not a very strong mindset. I'm very different now, of course. Because now when I want something, I really go for it. And even though like I fail a few times, I keep going. Depending on what it is though, because with every failure, like with the quote, "Oh, we learn from our failures." I assess the situation, and then I do have to analyze whether I'm wasting my time or not. And that's sadly one of the valid reasons as to why a lot of us, after a few rejections, we move on. Because it's about what we invest our time and energy into. But a lot of the times when we do meet a rejection or a failure, sometimes we automatically just give up and never try again. And that's the sad part. We gotta at least try it a few times. And I know many that don't try enough. And they only try more and more and more when it's like they feel like, oh man, I have to, or they're gonna receive some sort of punishment. Those aren't the only times that we should keep trying. Like a child, they don't have to walk. Like no one's actually telling them like, yo, you gotta walk. Like children they just keep trying until they get it. If someone wants to be a dancer, just because you dance not so well the first few times, hold on, let me silence this. Just because you dance poorly the first few times, that is not an excuse to continue trying to dance. Because the more you dance, the better you'll get. At least if you have the desire to be a good dancer, you'll eventually adopt all the mindsets as to what do I need to do to become a better dancer. Sadly, I'm pretty sure there's scientific data on this. There are some of us out there in the world who are better attuned and better acclimated to music and beats and following the rhythm and flow of beats and musics and rhythms. Because I think for the Afro populace and Polynesian and Islander populace, especially lots of island-based people or African, let's just say dark-skinned population, we, because I'm an islander as well, we naturally have a sense of beat within us where it's just easy for us to flow into a rhythm or a beat or a flow. And we just like, we can easily just groove and flow, follow the music. So when the music goes on, you can just keep rocking to it, keep the pattern and all that. And it's, no offense, but I feel like there are other populations where they kind of lack that. It can be learned, definitely, but just the natural talent, it might not be there. Doesn't mean it can't be learned. I know several people out there, they're not the best singers. They're not the best natural singers, but they keep trying, they keep practicing, and they become awesome singers. It's not like a natural skill for them. It's not something they genetically inherited from their culture, but they kept trying, and then they built that skill, that physical skill. And awesomely enough, their future generations, their future offspring and children and grandchildren, all that, they're going to have a chance to have that skill, to be good at singing. Because their parents or their ancestors didn't give up. They kept trying. They kept trying to learn how to become better at something. They kept attempting it, learning the lessons from the failures, and then eventually they picked up that skill. Oof. And this can apply to more than just, a specific skill of like music and all that. It could apply to jobs, building relationships. There are only 2 things I've named, haven't there? There's got to be more things. Yeah, just types of skills. Like you can't swim first, you can eventually learn how to swim. Can't ride a bike, you can eventually learn how to ride a bike. You can't play basketball, you can eventually learn. Just don't give up. Just keep trying. And that will help you find a more fulfilling place in society, whether it be a hobby or an occupation. When we don't give up, that's when the skills can develop within us, even though we fall down 50 times. Just keep going. I know I'm not the most successful in terms of civilization and society, because sadly, to do well in that measurement of like your place in civilization and society, it's all about having a good job and occupation. But the truth is, I don't want to have a job. I'm not interested in having a job. I'm well supported right now. I'm luckily well supported, and I know I'm considered old, but I'm well supported, so I can pursue things that I want to do. And one thing I know I definitely want to do is be a content creator. That's why I'm trying to do this podcast, make YouTube videos, anything. Because I'm seeing that, you know what? I would rather do this. I don't want to work for someone. I want to work for myself. I'm working for systems that are going to help provide me income, but it doesn't have the whole idea of, oh, I have to meet a specific person's demands, and so his anger and his bias is gonna put me down. No, I'm leaving it to other systems. And either way, this allows me to be who I want to be. Just someone who loves to talk a lot and get lost in different tangents and digress here and go here. Okay. I'll stay on track. But yeah, I just want to create content. I don't have much of a following right now, but I know if I keep trying, keep going with it, even after 50 episodes and videos, I'm not going to stop, because I'm just going to keep learning more, and I'm just going to keep trying to reach out until I get that audience, because I am going to get that audience. There's too many people out there that once they do hear me, they value what I have to say, because that's all I care about in life. Just providing people with light, with knowledge, with wisdom, with opinions, with ideas, with my experiences, so they can learn from it. I'm a village elder here in my community, and a lot of my younglings, they know that when I have something to say, they should probably listen, because they know, they feel it. I'm sharing them wisdom that they can use. And I always do anyway. Like, I see them in the situation, I see what's going on, and usually the only things I have to say to them are things to help better them. Because that's my concern. Like, if I can give them a leg up, yeah, hells yeah. That's the reason why I'll talk to you. I'm not going to go up to you and talk small talk. I don't care about that. For those who know me, they know that I'm not all about small talk. My words always have strong purpose and strong depth. Just like what I'm trying to share right now. So I'm just reminding any of you listeners now. You're probably listening to me because you want some depth, you want some knowledge, you want to learn some experience, some wisdom, something. So yeah, I'm providing content. And even if I fail in whatever margin I've given myself, or society has given me, or these systems have given me, I'm going to keep trying, because I've decided. That brings another topic I want to talk about with this quote. Should I read the quote again? I'll just read the quote again. I feel like I want to bring it back. When a child is learning how to walk and falls down 50 times, they never think to themselves, maybe this ain't for me. I've been doing this for a couple weeks. Actually, like more than a month. I've actually been doing this slowly, little by little for a long while, but it's just recently I've decided to give it my proper focus. It's been a while, and I don't have much of a viewership. Is that going to stop me? No. Because this is what I want to do. I'm drawn to this. The idea of succeeding in content creation, that looks like a place where I want to be. Working some job and do that, most of them, nah. That idea doesn't fulfill me. But this, where it's just me doing what I like, what I want to do, isn't that what we all want? Just be able to do what we like and live through that? Isn't that what life should be? I'm not going to touch on that topic. That's a bit deeper, and I'll probably leave that for a different Phlopy quote. But you can see I have a passion for this. That's the topic I want to talk about now. I know in this scenario we're talking about a child, and you can't say like, oh, they have a passion for walking. And walking is just our nature. Yeah, it is our nature. But in a sense, what is driving this child to continue to keep walking? In a sense, it's passion. Because, first of all, children, they learn to walk upright like everybody else because their role models are doing that exact thing. And their role models seem to be doing very well and are being very successful in walking upright. Their guardians and their parents, they're the role models I'm talking about. Children, they don't have, well, I mean, like, they'll have many role models, but their main role models, their main idols are their parents or whoever's raising them. And look, that's what the grown-ups, that's what the big dogs are doing. I'm gonna learn to walk upright like them. And like, you know, you fail at first, but like, yo, this is like the norm. This is what I should be doing. I gotta do it too. There's a passion there. They might not be consciously thinking, oh, you know, I gotta keep trying how to walk. Oh, it doesn't matter, I failed this time. I gotta try. They're not even thinking that. They're just doing it unconsciously. Unconsciously? Subconsciously? Which one's the right term? I'm not sure. But either way, there is a passion to walk because this is what their surroundings, the people they look up to, like literally while they're crawling. This is what they're doing. They're walking upright. I should just add this example. If a human child is not growing up with humans and is being raised by wolves, in a sense, even though they're biologically and physiologically designed to stand upright, they might learn to walk on all fours just because their idols who are raising them are walking on all fours, raised by wolves. Because the wolves walk like that. And the wolves eventually learn how to gather food the way they do. And that child is going to learn that too. It's not going to think I have to be like that. It's just going to do what it's going to do. It just becomes their nature. Because nature is you adapting to your environment. That is now your nature. And of course, your nature is also what's genetically within you. But in a sense, that is your nature because it's you and your environment and you're just adapting to it. We have a passion to adapt to our environment. So we'll walk. And that's one of the, I guess that goes into a bigger tip, like, you know, whatever it is you're trying to pursue, make it your nature. Make it the media you expose yourself to all the time. If I want to become good at basketball, you have a better chance developing your skills in basketball if you engage your mind in more basketball. You go to basketball games, you watch basketball games, you participate in basketball games, you talk to people who are concerned about basketball this, basketball that, blah, 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 blah. Make it your environment. And then even though you're consciously making it your environment, because you need the conscious effort to create your environment, you'll eventually adapt to that environment and develop those skills that are required. And then it won't even be about like, oh, I failed 50 times. Oh, maybe this isn't for me. It won't even be like that anymore. Because once it's your environment, in a sense, unconsciously, subconsciously, whatever, you'll just keep trying until you attain that skill or accomplish that feat. When it becomes your passion, when it becomes your nature. That's another way to utilize the idea of passion, making it your nature. The child is learning to walk because those who are raising him and everyone else out there is walking upright. And of course, we have the genetic predisposition to be upright bipedal walkers. I tried to sound scientific there. Did I say that properly? I don't know. But yeah, just be aware that you will adapt to your environment. Whatever the people around you are doing, in a sense, you're going to do it. You're going to behave like them. So that's a little bonus tip. Yeah. Be aware of your environment. What can you do to your environment to create your nature, to influence your subconscious passion? Because that's what's happening with children, and that's what happens to most people. They eventually adapt. Sadly, if this is a bit sad, but sadly, if you get treated like a prisoner all the time, you'll adapt to that because you're in an environment that treats you like a prisoner. You will adapt. If you're in an environment that has where others have rule over how you act and behave and live, you're going to eventually just act, behave, and live the way these people are enforcing upon you because that's your environment. And it's sad, but in a sense, that's the subconscious, unconscious passion that is being lit within you. I hope that hasn't startled many people, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. And it's like me, I'm just going to make this part of my nature, just continue doing this and all that. I'm just going to adapt to it. I'm already adapted to it, obviously, but, I'm going to find ways to make this more effective and sufficient. I'm not only going to, adapt to talking in front of a camera or talking with people in front of the camera. I'm already adapted to that. I get watched all the time. I'm always in situations where people are watching me, people observing me, people have to listen to me. I'm a spokesman. I'm used to it. Through growing up, I've always had to be the one to speak for my community. I'm used to it. It's not pressure. It's not hard. I was talking to a friend before and he's like, oh man, like I really admire you for, being able to record yourself and put your recording out there to show people, like that takes a lot of courage. And I wasn't trying to be boastful or smug about it, but I told him like, I don't know, I'm used to it. I'm used to everyone watching me. I'm used to everyone judging me. Yeah, that's the thing he feared. He acknowledged that he feared judgment, which I didn't believe he should have because I thought he was an awesome guy. To me, he's a extremely courageous, powerful, awesome dude. And for him to be worried about judgment, why? He's so good looking, and he's a performing artist. He's made music before. Back when we were in high school, he used to make music, and everyone used to think it was cool. And he had that positive energy, so everyone enjoyed it. Is he really worried about judgment? I don't know. But when he told me that, I wasn't even concerned about the idea of being judged or people like looking at me like, oh, and saying this, talking shit or saying good things, whatever. I'm used to it. It's my nature. It's my environment. I'm always in situations where people are going to be judging me. Like, man, look at me. this is a face that people are gonna criticize and scrutinize all the time. I got piercings. I got visible tattoos. I got hair that I haven't cut for many years. I'm gonna get judgment whether I like it or not. I don't know. And apparently, I'm just a very noticeable person. I don't know what it is, but apparently that's me. And so, whether I like it or not, I have to face this judgment everywhere I go. Every restaurant I go to, everywhere I go out in public. For some reason, everyone's just like, notices me, and then like a lot of people like give judgment, but I don't care. I used to care a very long time ago, but now I just accept it. I'm just used to it. I've adapted, and I've embraced it. And if anything, I like that people always like judging me and criticizing me, because it gives me the fun opportunity to convince them otherwise. Ooh, I love that part when all of a sudden, when they finally truly engage with me after the judgment and they realize, oh, this guy's awesome. Wow, this guy really helped me. Wow, this guy provided me with like value and knowledge. Why would he do that? Because it's my nature. And I guess I have a subconscious passion for it. I don't even think about like what I'm doing. It's just the way I am. Just like with whatever you want to pursue, whether you're a child or not, just be something. Just keep going, even if I fail. Because fair enough, I love the challenge of trying to convince someone otherwise from what they've judged of me. I fail heaps of times. And then people walk away thinking like, oh man, look at him, like he looks like an asshole. And then they go home thinking I'm an asshole. That's their loss. They're missing out on this, baby. But that doesn't discourage me from trying to spread more positivity and light. Nah, no way. Sometimes it does when I'm in a bad mood, or I'm tired, or I'm hungry, or I'm hangry. Yeah, of course. But naturally, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep reaching out on the World Wide Web and creating content that hopefully people enjoy. Because all I want to do is have fun and spread positivity and light and wisdom. Because, I don't know, it's my passion? Or is it my nature? Are we touching on a deep discussion about passion and nature? Because the idea I think most of us have of passion is a conscious effort. But I think that's only the start. I think when you have a passion, the start is a conscious effort. A conscious effort that has begun from a subconscious desire. Oh, man, we're going deep on that one. And then eventually, once the environment becomes what the conscious passion is, then eventually it just becomes a subconscious thing. Like when I go to MMA training and Muay Thai training, at first, like I had to make myself always go and all that. And even though it was hard and I was getting my ass kicked and I was getting choked out all the time, or I'm getting, hit in the face or whatever, I just went. I'll be honest, like I'd already like engaged in training like years before. So it wasn't hard for me to consciously make the effort to go, because I already enjoyed it. Even if I get hit in the face or get choked out or whatever as a beginner, I just enjoyed it. So I rocked up anyway, because I just know, oh, it's going to be fun. I don't care who beats me. It's because I'm not as competitive. No, that's not the right word. I'm competitive, but I don't have that ego where I have to be competitive with everyone. Because, I feel like everyone at the MMA gym, they're always trying to prove that they are strong, and there's this sense of insecurity, so they have to kind of defeat the club mates. Whereas me, like, I don't care if I defeat any of my club mates. I don't care if they defeat me. I don't take it personally, because no offense, like whether people at my MMA club realize this or not, I'm probably the most dangerous person there. They probably don't realize that. But it doesn't matter. Maybe they'll beat me in a one-on-one physical duel, of course, because that's a situation. But that's only one little idea when it comes to what makes someone dangerous. I'm not saying that I'm a bad person, but I have nothing to fear. But going to the club is easy. And, even though I know I'm going to get physically hurt or damaged or whatever, I bloody injure myself and break my bones and stuff all the time with that stuff. But it's fun. And it's just a subconscious passion. I just go. And the point I was trying to make is, after a few weeks, it just became this thing where I didn't even have to think about like, oh, I have to go to class. Oh, I got to muster up the effort to go to this training. Oh, I got to like spar or roll with this guy. No, it just became the thing where I was like, oh, it's time to go to this. It wasn't a conscious effort. It was just like, oh, it's time to go to this. And then like, I know, like, okay, it's time to continue thriving in my environment. Whether I lose all the bouts and sparrings and rolls, I just go. And I just grow and get better with all those failures and successions. Don't give up, guys, on whatever it is. I know, like, when we get stressed out on the conscious thoughts about things, it can be very discouraging and it can break our spirit. But sometimes we need to learn other ways to deal with the situation so that we can eventually succeed in something. Because when at the back of your mind, when something is at the back of your mind that you want, you're just going to keep going for it. When it becomes your subconscious passion. Is there a word for what I'm talking about? Because I'm calling it subconscious passion right now, or unconscious passion. But I'm sure there's a word that describes this idea I'm talking about. Because I feel, like I was saying before, I feel like passion is a word that is concerned with a conscious idea, a conscious notion that we have to consciously develop and utilize. So what's this subconscious passion thing I'm talking about? Where we're just going with the flow with our nature. What is that? There's a word for it, right? Should we still use the word passion for it? I don't know. Let's just keep going and say passion. But with nature and passion, sometimes just going with the flow of our environment, it will allow us to succeed, like I was saying. And then we will develop or gain a new skill, a new set of skills, or accomplish a feat. So long as we keep trying, even though we fail, even though we lose, even though we don't succeed, try again. Just like the baby. Babies see everyone walking, so they just keep trying to walk. That brings another topic that is very beautiful, and I think a lot of people can, what's that word? Connect it to me. It's like being childlike. Even though people are insulting me when they say this, or they're trying to mock me when they say this, they say I'm very childish. I laugh. I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm heaps childish. Even though they might be trying to denote the idea of me being childish because of my status in civilization, in the occupational world, but whatever they're saying, I love it. I am childish, and I love it. You know why? Because when you're childlike, you get to learn new things. What's the best thing about children? They learn. They're in the best mindset to learn something new. And you know what that is exactly the same as? Adventure. When you adventure, you're not going to something you know. You're going to something you don't know or you can't predict. When you adventure, it's the fun and thrill of not being sure, not knowing what's out there, what you'll run into, what you might have to learn about, what you might have to adapt to. Oof. I love being childlike. I'm not saying I'm being childlike as in irresponsible and put people in danger, put myself in danger, even though I am kind of known for that. But that doesn't mean that's all me, because, the wisest of us all know that sadly people get remembered not for the good feats or for the successions, but sadly you could be as successful and accomplish like hundreds and thousands of good things, and people will know all that. But once you do one thing wrong, for some reason people will only remember you for that. And sadly, that's why people say I'm childish. Well, a lot of people say I'm childish. They forget everything I've done for them. How I am the elder, the parent, the guardian. But whatever, they'll learn eventually, I hope. Because you know what they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Not saying that they're all old dogs or anything, but hopefully they adapt the mindset to learn. Anyway, what I was going to say is, I love being childlike. In this quote, they use the example of a child learning how to walk. It's a beautiful quote because it's showing, look at this child in its beginner's essence, learning how to do something. And even though it's failing, even though the child fails numerous times, it doesn't give up and it doesn't think, oh, maybe this isn't for me. It doesn't look for an alternative. No, it keeps trying until it eventually can walk. I'm like that. I love trying new things. I love learning new things. When you've got that beginner's mindset, which can be very humbling for a lot of people, especially for those who are too proud, those who are too insecure about themselves and their worth. Yes, I said it. Those who are insecure about themselves and their worth. It's beautiful having a beginner's mindset or a beginner's mind. I love having a beginner's mind because it's so fun. It's so enjoyable. I love learning new things. I love engaging in whatever and just trying to learn all about it. And even if I'm considered, I don't know anything about this, or you're dumb about this, or how can you not know this, blah, 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 blah. I don't care. I'm learning. I'm eventually going to know a lot more. And sadly, all you people that are too busy judging, I'm going to know a lot more than you. I'm going to be more experienced than you. You know what? Because I love learning everything. I love being a beginner in new things. I don't want to stay beginner forever in whatever I'm engaging in. No, I want to become a master of everything. Because those who know me, I'm a I was going to say master of all trades. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. I'm going to have one specific good skill, right? Maybe the skill is being the beginner. Nah, that's not my skill. That's one of my qualities because it allows me to learn a lot, but I guess my skill is writing. Writing. You see, I want to talk about that as well. I've always had this desire to be a storyteller. Ever since I was young, ever since I was like little, I've always wanted to tell people stories because I find that's something that everyone enjoys. Stories. They love stories. Everybody around me loves stories. I don't know if stories are still a thing nowadays, but when we were young, we'd read books. Like parents would would read us books. Grown-ups would all read us stories. Would watch television, would watch movies. We would go to the movies to watch it. It's all stories and everyone enjoys it. It's so fun. So I've always wanted to be a storyteller. And for a lot of my life, the idea of being a storyteller had to do with books. So in a sense, I knew, in the back of my mind, I knew like, yo, I gotta become a better writer. Because when I become a better writer, I'll become a better storyteller. And yeah, I just like spent so much of my life just writing stories and all that stuff. I don't have any complete books, sadly, because I just write for fun, but I never bothered to publish anything, nor have I got something in a complete stage to be published yet. I'll work on that eventually. Right now, my focus is content creation. But yeah, writing stories was the idea in my head, especially in the back of my mind, like how I could become the storyteller I want to become. It's not until like, for some reason, not long ago, I opened my mind, and even though it was clearly in front of me in so many different ways and in so many different spectrums, that being a storyteller is not closed to the category of writing. There's a million ways to be a storyteller. Being a content creator is exactly what it is to me. Being a storyteller. This is a more efficient form of telling stories with the human physiological skill of speaking. Now, I just told you that story. My mind opened to that, and then I realized, you know what? I can do it like this. But the other value of that story was that I always just wrote stories, and I always, every once in a while, just add chapters to this story I've been writing for many years. It's just a bunch of just random things happening in these stories, but I always just write. And all I know is that my story writing skills are the mental, the immaculate. Maybe not the skill in creating a short form like novel or novella, but I can write poetically and descriptively. That skill is definitely within me. It's second nature to me. I don't struggle to write creatively. I don't struggle one bit. I may struggle with the format of like, oh, we need like 1,000-word story or like a 200-word story. I might struggle with the specific formats, but in general, writing, I just engaged in it so much. Like my early stories, they weren't that good, but now when I write anything, I'm painting like grand opuses that I'm sure if people still enjoyed the art of writing and reading, I know you will all see the magic that I create when I write stories. And yeah, I just never gave up. I just kept doing it. And I haven't given up on that, by the way. I will get some books published and such. But I'm just trying to say, I never gave up. I just kept doing it. It just became a subconscious nature to just write. One of my hobbies, my pastimes. And hell's yeah, man, I write lines like crazy. I can't prove it right now, but I hope that you can tell by the way I talk that there is some sort of storyteller skill within me. I hope. And part of it came from that beginner's mindset that I had at the start when I decided to develop my skills as a writer. Or develop my skills to walk. The walk. Because I wasn't just like, I wasn't just talking the talk and saying, I'm a storyteller or whatever. I walked the walk heaps of times. Even though I kept falling down and all that, now I can walk hundreds of miles, 1,000 miles. And I would walk 1,000 miles. Is that how it goes? Well, whatever. It became, writing and storytelling. It is now just a subconscious passion. Doing this, talking, oh my goodness, it's been 55 minutes. It's a subconscious passion too. You see, I know I need to learn how to make things more short form and easier for the common folk to digest, because yes, I know your attention span is very short. My environment is full of academics. We constantly read long, laborious papers. So retaining a lot of information and holding our attention to a lecturer that is lecturing for a long time, or writing that we have to read constantly for long durations of time. Sadly, that's the environment I've been in for a very long time. So I need to adapt to more tasteful levels of attention span. But I'll learn it, of course. And for those who want to catch up to this level and enjoy whatever I have to say, I respect that. I salute you. Because you will learn. Don't just get deterred once and never enjoy the beauty that you can find once you develop the skills to keep your attention focused on the speaker. Don't be deterred. There's a lot you can learn. And I'm sure most of you guys can engage in that, especially, those who listen to those 3-hour-long Joe Rogan podcasts. See? Should be easy to listen to me. I think. I hope. There was another point I wanted to talk about with the beauty of children being used in this example. I know it's late and it's kind of out of nowhere to introduce it, but I just want to introduce this little topic. I'll just introduce and touch on it a little bit. Why we love children and just being around children and looking at children. Don't deny it. We all love watching a child just live and exist. Just looking around, learning about this, not understanding this, and it's like we just see them making mistakes all the time. We love seeing that. It's so cute and adorable. Or animals, when we see pets, like domesticated animals trying this, trying that, and then we laugh at them when they make mistakes and all that. It's so enjoyable. Do you know why? It's the innocence. And when I say innocence, it's the inexperience. But it's, oh man, they don't know. It's so cute. It's so adorable. It's so enjoyable. You know what people don't understand about why they enjoy the innocence? It's because deep down inside, a lot of you miss that. You all miss, and you're all, longing and wistful to be a child again. To be at that state of innocence where you don't know so much. So you have to learn about the world and all that. You all miss being innocent. Well, I have some good news for you all. You can easily become innocent again. Just be willing to learn something new and try. Or in whatever you're doing, adopt a beginner's mindset. Or, if not a beginner's mindset, adopt a student's mindset. Because I'm pretty sure for the billions of you out there, whatever position you're in right now, or situation you're in right now, I'm pretty sure there is so much more to learn. And when you adopt that student mindset and begin enjoying learning more to develop yourself more, oof, that's the innocence that you guys miss. That's the innocence that we all miss when we see a child make a mistake, or a puppy or a dog not understand a certain concept. We can all easily go back to it. We don't have to just be happy watching these ignorant creatures. And I don't mean ignorant in a bad way. Ignorant is a very basic term to describe someone that hasn't yet learnt something. We're all ignorant in a sense. So when you learn to enjoy the ignorance, because ignorance is bliss. Man, I quoted heaps of Phlopy shit today. Yeah, because ignorance is bliss. That enjoyment, that pleasure is available to all of us, no matter how old you are, or how old you think you are, or how too far gone you believe you are. Everyone enjoys learning something new, especially when they're not in a rush or they're comparing themselves to someone else. No. When they can adopt the student mindset and not worry about comparing themselves and where they fit on the ladder, becomes enjoyable. I've seen so many elderly enjoy themselves learning something new, not because they have to compete with everyone else. No, they just, when they suddenly learn something new, they're like, oh wow, and they just enjoy themselves so much. They have big smiles because they get to be young again. We can all be young again easily, even if we fail and fail and fail and fail. When we can turn these new experiences into these subconscious passions, we're all children again. We're all innocent again. And life is fun again. If you want it to be. Or you can be, stuck up and be like, oh, it's too late, I'm old, nothing's enjoyable anymore. That's up to you. I'm still going to be childish, and y'all can't do anything about that. But I'll do something mature right now, and I'm going to sign out. Have fun, everyone. Signing out.